this morning, and thank you for joining the webinar. I'd like to pass you over to Fred Wilkinson, who is the CEO of BPI On Demand, who will be leading the webinar today. And the main topic area here is delivering a CRM that adds value to your business. So this is anything from driving adoption to getting people's heads turned to actually changing or having a new initiative into your business. So over to you, Fred.
Thank you so much, Geraint. So delivering CRM for any business is kind of a really fascinating subject because I'm Fred Wilkinson. I founded BPI On Demand 10 years ago now, and found there was an issue with the whole concept of CRM and the implementation, and ultimately the driving success out of a CRM platform was riddled with issues around three main points that we are going to discuss today. But one of those major points is the human beings that are trying to interact with the solutions, CRM, and various other elements of why CRM projects fail. And what I realized is that people were kind of forgetting the users. They were forgetting the end customers. And ultimately, point number two is that they were forgetting that CRM is fundamentally not a system. And that's kind of in the year 2008, it really sort of had riddled with problems around the credit crisis. And all businesses went into a cut, and an effectiveness and an efficiencies drive, which actually completely goes against the name, which is CRM, which is customer relationship management, as I know everybody on this call will already know. The point is, everyone thought that CRM was a system, it's a pipeline tool, and actually, absolutely, it is not. It is customer relationship management, and customers buy, market, and expect to be delivered a service or a product in an integrated fashion. They don't want departments to continue telling the message to you about a delivery that's wrong of a product or a service. It's about everybody having a 360 view of the customer, which I know is old-fashioned, but I think we do need to go to old-fashioned disciplines that we've forgotten during the credit crisis of the last 10 years. Getting your business on board is absolutely critical. But let's talk about why projects fail. Ultimately, the biggest project in terms of Salesforce automation, mainly in the CRM space, and marketing automation being in service, user adoption is kind of easy when you're talking about service desks, because people are sat at a desk. They're expecting to have to log into a system to pick up issues that they... When you think about sales, and especially field sales, they're out and about all of the time. So people don't bother using the system. And everybody who's had and bought a piece of software for Salesforce automation over the last 20, 30, 40 years, bought a system. IT were instructed, please help us implement this system. And IT actually don't participate in the sales process. So how on earth can they know what's important to the users in detail? A lot of users were not involved in projects. The lack of change management and the lack of an integration with the process of selling. I don't mean the department, I mean the process of selling with the tool set itself. So I counted with a client recently, they had 24 different systems that a sales maker would need to log into to complete the sales process. Insane. Excel, ERP systems, HR systems, pricing systems, legal systems to get special terms and conditions approved, then a separate system to produce the quote, a separate system to get an approval, email, constantly, no real reporting of any of that collaboration across the organization and departments to push a deal through the sales cycle. And then, of course, then finance bills, something completely different that wasn't on the statement of work or proposal or in store had a different price point to what was proposed on the website. It's constantly riddled because things are not focused on the customer. They're not focused around the integrated attitude a customer has today in the digital world we live. And the lack of training. And I don't mean click here, click there on this system. I mean training. I mean coaching. I mean people to say, with the CRM, This can enable you to see 3 customers a week instead of 2. How do we do that? What's the process? And that's what I want to train my people and my customers on. And finally, the last piece on this slide is really saying, if it's not within the process and it's not integrated, there's way, way too much manual work. We recently implemented a solution for a global organization, multi-billion-dollar company, where they pretty much ran their business on Excel spreadsheets and email. You cannot report on Excel. You cannot report on Outlook, albeit a wonderful tool. So it's about putting people's carrots, which is incentives, which is progressing a sale through the sales cycle and the support functions so that it isn't manual. What influences the users? Well, I have to be honest, and I've been a sales rep myself, and I remember fundamentally that all I really cared about was 3 things, which was, how do I get discount, how do I book a deal, and how do I get my commission? And that's the what's in it for me. How much do I have to change? I'm not sure I really want to change the way that I work to earn my commission. Does it make my life easier? So ultimately, if you think about getting discount, booking deals, and getting commission, you've actually got a what's in it for me. If you can ingrain as a real trick and tip for anyone thinking about driving adoption and getting people to use the system, for a sales organization, if you can get one of those 3 elements into the system, into the process, into the day-to-day life, which means the only way that someone can get discount is to log into CRM. The only way they can get a deal booked is to log into CRM. And the only way they can find out how much commission they might earn, they have to log into CRM. You get the theme. The point is, when you've got someone logging in and what influences them to log in, they're going to leave their footprint behind. And if they're asking for discount and looking at commission, they want to make sure their pipeline is absolutely spot on and accurate. Why? Because if it's not, then their commission might be wrong. Their proposal to their client might be wrong. And obviously the discount requests might be wrong too. So it means that those interactions and those proposals and those processes inside the application suddenly helps the customer too. Because if there's collaboration within the same process, then ultimately things will progress faster because you can start to measure the performance between departments, which you can't on email. So the wrestle with CRM adoption, it goes away. This guy that you can see is kind of, in fact, I've come across hundreds of companies who actually have a job and a function within their organization called CRM Adoption Manager. It's crazy. You know, what we want to focus on is moving away from the subject of adoption and trying to find advocacy, where people say, I want to log into the system because I like it. And those are the what's in it for me. This is where we find those opportunities to help improve the way people work. And that adoption moves from advocacy, and then finally, when you get the quality of adoption and you focus on the right price, there are less credit notes coming back and forward from finance because the proposal is what's in CRM, is what's in the pipeline, is what the other departments need to be understanding so that they can approve discounts, special terms, and ultimately a faster and more efficient engine to better serve the customer. So it moves from adoption to then driving real return on investment, which is what we all want and need. So back to our philosophy, it's pretty simple. CRM is not a piece of technology. It's a strategic business approach, and it's a journey to leverage the system, to leverage technology to improve the customer experience. So if you notice on the pillars below that start to build, you'll notice one thing that's not written down there, which is system. I start with people, people by people. I have never, ever sold anything to a company before. It doesn't exist. A company doesn't exist. The buyers are people. So to make CX and CRM work, think about your customers' customers, and then you'll get it right. Think about how they want to buy, how easy it is to buy from your organization, and that requires executive support. Let me pick out another one here in the people section, which is to create a coaching culture. Everybody's forgotten how to sell. Everybody's forgotten the disciplines around cadence. And I love the phrase when it comes to people is when you expect results by doing exactly the same things you've been doing for the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then that is ultimately the definition of madness if you expect a different result. And my favorite phrase of all is to say, do not expect what you don't inspect, which drives me to the far side column around data. Use data. Look at that strategy on reporting and dashboards that are completely aligned to your 5-year, 3-year strategies and plans, right down to the number of leads that you need to create, the conversion rates to opportunities in the B2B sense, the opportunity conversion rates to average deal values. You multiply that up, and a number that says, I need to hit 20 million, 100 million, or whatever it is, you can work back through the process and have almost down to the granular level of how many leads need to be generated to guarantee hitting the number with some conservative ratios all the way through. But if you're not inspecting those ratios regularly, if there isn't a report and a process that fits to your exact customer journey map, coach leaders to execute, coach leaders to be advocates of the process and not talk about everything as a system. Everybody hates change, which drives me to the third and probably most important column of today's conversation, which is adoption. If CX or CRM as a tool fits into the day job of the sales makers in your organization, it will get adopted. You can move on to the quality of adoption. There's also some technology, which I will talk about, that it is available on a mobile device now, that it is available through social networking. It is available in the cloud. So accessing it, even offline, is available. So there truly is no excuse anymore for any of the sales makers to say, I couldn't access it. I couldn't get to it on time. You can access this on your watch, on an airplane, offline. So establish that culture and drive that adoption through. And also, one of the last things where projects fails on the side of data is people say, I can't see my account. Oh, my opportunities are wrong. Oh, the data's rubbish, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, there's loads of duplicates in the system. And again, I'm going to say, do you know what? You can leverage technology. Deduplication tools are intrinsically included in the Oracle platforms that we've seen recently. We see them as leading the space when it comes to data management and governance. Don't let your CRM get dirty. And this system will actually clean it on its behalf. So I'm happy to talk system for that small period of time. Determine your KPIs and stick to them and have a red, amber, green view of the world. And finally, provide that 360 view so that data is shared across the business and nobody has to type things twice. And if it's involved in the process, the customer will win and they will spend more money and be more loyal to your organization. So think about implementing not a piece of technology or a system. Think about implementing a successful initiative across the business. Whenever I say sales process, sales improvement, I get marketing teams, I get legal teams, I get pricing and finance teams telling me, well, do I need to be involved in that? Well, do you touch the sales process? Do you touch the customer journey? Do you touch those moments of truth that decide whether a customer signs, renews, stays, buys more? Absolutely you do. So it is very much intrinsic that the word is the business, not implementing a successful sales or just a simple pipeline tool. I call them some old-fashioned vendors like Salesforce.com. They put a pipeline in the sky, in the cloud. Way, great. What has it actually done for that business's end customers? How does it improve their experience? I don't see a great deal of that. It's just put a pipeline in the cloud instead of having it in Excel or on a server somewhere in their own office. When I look at what clear pain points we have today, it's not the system. The system's very rarely at fault. Design the process. Understand, and it's a painful word, process. People want to go to sleep when you use the word process. But process is how sales is done. Sales is 95% process, 5% sales flair. Actually, when you go to an interview, the sales maker might say, well, I need this job because I'm 95% flair and it's all about me, and they're 5% process. So there's a disconnect already. But if you have a process that's simple to follow, that has no duplication of effort, no manual work, and it intrinsically is the way to go and find and deliver your day job, then suddenly the system will be used and it will gain value. You will get and find your ROI. What can be improved? How is your business broken? 99% of the time it's because it's manual labor. CRM is just an admin tool. Once a week you've got to update your pipeline and your boss tells you have to. But what are your real business issues? 95% of organizations, big or small, are from the sales maker level up to the executives are misaligned when it comes to what the sales maker's understanding is of the overall business strategy. They do not know. Involve different areas of the business. As I said before, sales and marketing, finance, legal, pricing, and supply chain, warehousing. Everybody needs to be involved in how to deliver the sales process. Discover the key value an initiative brings. It's just really trying to find where are the carrots. How do we get, or how do we guarantee the ROI if we follow some discipline and some structure? And some of this stuff is really simple. Don't try and build everything and do everything all at once. Who is driving change within the organization and trying to drive advocates within the organization? And I say organization, not sales alone, because it needs to be the organization that says, if I can understand better from the pipeline and the pipeline becomes more accurate, and if you're making products and you need to deliver those products, the more accurate you become, the more slick your manufacturing and your delivery can be. Who's influencing the department? When you look at a project to deliver this change that we're talking about, and I don't mean, as I say, put a CRM system in. Of course, that's a system that can help leverage and deliver these influences, but please pick carefully who's going to be involved in the project. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do you involve them? How do you engage with them? Make it an award. Make it a succession planning, a promotion opportunity of the future. If you join this CRM, this customer relationship management transformation, or small change or journey, then it's a great opportunity for you to present and become better known within your team, no matter how big or small your company is. And make it a success story. Make it a congratulatory representation right from the top to say, you've been selected, well done. You're going to design the future, how you want our business to operate with our customers and managing the relationships. So those are some of the tricks that you can look at to try and build those advocates. So what's it going to be? When you look at the next phase, one of the biggest mistakes people make also is to forget to tell everyone what you're doing. Make a noise, make a story. Leverage the project champions that you have from those departments that we selected from the previous slide to get them involved in the workshops, to design the future. Leverage the communications through multi-session, multimedia. When someone says, what's the crystal clear methodology to change people's minds, change people's behavior, change people's process, it's quite simple. It's about communicate, communicate, communicate. And if someone then says, oh, I've had enough, can you just not communicate with me more? Just continue to communicate using a different tool. Create videos. They cost nothing on an iPhone or a Google Play. Sorry, I don't mean to say I'm Apple orientated. But if, just look at the different methodologies you've got. Use social media channels. Use videos. Use posters. One of my favorite go live examples to drive adoption was everybody's seat in the office, and people sent to their home addresses for their chairs at home were sent a rubber ring. And basically the message in the envelope when you blew up your rubber ring is, finally, as CEO, we've listened to you and we want to support you. So now feel supported with the new CRM, join the journey. So make it a bit of fun. Have some fun with this. It doesn't have to cost lots of money in the slightest, but build the excitement. Run countdowns. It's something that people do not hear or see on a regular basis when you're looking at this. Because with respect to our friends in IT are not responsible for marketing and making noise and running change. It's tough enough just to keep Outlook working. So give the IT team a break, but help them and build a quality, successful communication plan that we have tricks and tips at BPI to share with you anytime you want to talk more. Next slide, Geraint, please. So one of my favorite slides of all. So you've got a stick at the bottom of this blackboard, and you've got the carrot. Someone asked me the other day, in a nutshell, Fred, what is the best strategy when it comes to driving user adoption in any software, CRM focused, as an example for today? And I said, find the carrots and then beat them with their own carrots. So look at incentive compensation, look at proposal generation, look at all of the things around discounts and pricing that the team need to be able to do in sales to fulfill their jobs, their lives, their careers, and be successful and earn lots of money. So their carrot is money, and I'm sorry to be blunt about it. Their carrot is money, their carrot is knowledge, their carrot is an enablement of the process to better serve their customer. So if you think about the carrots in their minds, then inspect them, put those KPIs and reports in place to see that those carrots are being delivered against. And then if they're not, beat them with their own carrots. Next slide, Geraint. So enormous thank yous for joining the call today, and I'm glad hopefully you've been able to pick out one tip or maybe more tips for the future in terms of how you drive adoption and also get value from your CRM or from any software to that degree. It doesn't have to just be CRM, to better enable a much, much more improved experience from also your customers, and not just your customers directly, but their customers too. So what's next? We have a series of webinars that we're going to continue on the same subjects, different subjects, running reports, and maybe setting up some of those KPIs. What are the KPIs that can drive adoption? So we will continue to evolve. So look out for the next invites. I'm so pleased that you're able to join us today. We will record and have recorded this session today. We are also present at the wonderful Oracle Modern Business Experience, MBX, in London. Hot off the press, I'm absolutely delighted to say that we have a former Olympian gold medalist, rower, and also OBE, Greg Searle, will be at our stand at the London event at the Intercontinental Hotel at the O2 in London. That is on the 18th of April. So really look forward to seeing you there. Well, I will also be speaking, so please come and shake my hand, take my business card, and maybe have a little chance to have a photo shoot with Greg Searle and his gold medals. But now think carefully, what are the challenges you face within your project, or whether your project is now live and you're struggling with adoption? Come and talk to us. We're here to help. We have a passion about driving value. We have a passion about adoption, advocacy, and ultimately driving value out of CRM. We can help. Don't be quiet. Really thoroughly look forward to joining you the next webinar, MBX, or any other event that comes up shortly. Look out on our website on www.bpiondemand.com. Geraint, next slide. I think that's last but not least.
I think that is the end of the webinar today. So just want to say thank you once again for joining, and we hope to see you on one of these again soon. So we're looking to run a webinar series or one episode of the webinar series once a month. So keep a lookout for those.